This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Trick or treat. Take a seat. Put this podcast on repeat. If you don't, we don't care. We're just here to make you scared. What? It's a black cat.
It could have been scary.
It's unlucky.
And then you did the Thundercat noise.
I actually thought that he was gonna go unscary at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say? I was going to say underwear?
I was waiting for a punchline.
Yeah. No, it's October, everyone.
And welcome to October Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last episode, our concert iPod Erase episode.
Real fun.
New twist on an old game.
We got some positive feedback. I think a lot of people had fun. I had fun.
Yeah,
actually,
too.
I mean,
I felt like we were a little bit giggly by the end.
but yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Safety.
As if we drank a
How
lot.
it goes.
As if we drank a lot of Mountain Dew just before recording.
Sure we did.
Crazy. But thanks to everyone who participated. We saw specifically on X/Twitter, we saw a lot of people play along. So thank you. We absolutely love to see it. Just a couple quick comments here. Mike Hilton said, still owns.
Sounds like a jerk.
Yeah, right. He said he still owns and regularly uses his iPod, just in his car though, because it has to be plugged in
same.
at work.
Yep.
And he took a picture.
He had a picture. It was like, you know, the iPod Classic with like the screen, the cover, the protection, and it was kind of like yellow.
Yellow,
stuff.
for sure.
Yep, I know that iPod.
That Mike's awesome.
Little memory.
It's awesome. He kind of got after you for the Beastie Boys.
He did, and I knew he would.
Yeah.
So I
And then you
understand that.
corrected him on how the game is played. It was lovely.
It was. We had fun there on social media.
And then
we don't talk to each other. We ping each other on X.
Happy family.
And speaking of X/Twitter, we're just going to real quick play another couple rounds.
With us?
Courtesy of Rachel Crump.
Aw, we love it, Rachel.
Now, you may have already seen this, but we'll just go through it real fast. She said, this was a lot of fun. I loved playing along, but rather than sharing all my picks, I have one for you guys to answer. Dua Lipa, Lizzo, or Doja Cat?
I have no idea what any of them sing except for Lizzo.
Yeah.
Well, no, Dua Lipa does that duet with Elton John. Cold, cold heart.
Oh,
Plays on the radio all the time.
No idea.
I'm going to go Dua Lipa on the iPod all day. Easy. That's the one I want to listen to the most.
Okay.
I will put up with Doja Cat in concert and Lizzo. I would love to erase Lizzo forever.
I'm going to agree because I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a single song I know from Doja Cat.
It's the one that
That's Nyan Cat.
Oh, okay.
That is Nyan Cat.
yeah, I can't think of one right now.
I'm going to agree with
I
you as
honestly
well,
don't know.
Zach.
I just really, I really want to erase Lizzo.
That
all
was
I'm
my
trying to
crux
get.
too. And I know the Dua Lipa songs.
Dua Lipa's good.
And
We're
also,
the worst.
I'll see Doja Cat just to see who she is.
Is
she a cat? Does she wear like cat ears?
Probably.
Rachel Crump follows up. Okay. I have another one. Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, or Meghan Trainor.
So for me on this one, I would... You know what? I actually do like some Taylor Swift songs. I'd listen to her on the iPod.
But apparently in concert, she's great.
Yeah, I
know
hear
that's
concerts are
the
great.
thing. She
But
puts
sing
on
it
such a
one
good
time,
show.
Yeah.
as opposed to Olivia Rodrigo, who honestly I can't think of a single one of her songs. But I do want to erase Meghan Trainor.
License plate.
Because I want to erase her. No trouble. No trouble erasing her.
I'm going to agree just because I want to get to spooky stuff.
For the sake of it, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel Crump. Thank you for everybody who listened and played along. We love it. Thank you.
We do. And we also love loving you, patrons and
hey.
listener. Because we have since it is the spooky season, and Baconsale loves the spooky season. 2 out of 3 people at Baconsale love the spooky season. But
the other one doesn't listen.
So as we dedicate this month to spooky, scary skeleton shows,
on your spine.
we also have an October contest,
Yeah,
an
we
October
do.
giveaway for you, the listener. So what we're going to do is have a virtual costume parade.
Oh, like back
That's
in
right.
elementary school.
Like back, you remember back in elementary
Or
school?
at your current workplace.
That does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
But you get up in your costumes and you like walk through all the classrooms and see all the other kids and show off your costume.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to be doing. So watch for our posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you're going to comment or you're going to reply or DM on Instagram because they don't allow pictures in the post. And
So
then
we will be sharing them later
Slide into our DMs.
slide to Baconsale's DMs. That's
with
weird.
your appropriate costumes.
Please appropriate. Please, family friendly. But a picture of you in a Halloween costume, and we're going to be randomly selecting a winner to have a scary date night on
It's back
Baconsale.
on Baconsale.
Yes. We're going to be randomly picking a winner, and then you and a guest will be able to go to a haunted house near you.
So anyone that posts on any social media channel will be randomly, I guess, entered to randomly win.
So somebody who lives on Isle of Man doesn't have to go.
We have so many listeners in Isle of Man.
To Castle of Chaos.
Boost of Russia listeners.
They can go to real castles in the Isle of Man.
Okay.
They can.
Yeah.
But obviously...
you can't send the Russians to Nightmare on 13th.
Obviously, void were prohibited, and we there's some limitations here.
Terms and conditions do apply.
Like Frightmares does not count as a haunted house, but the winner will have a discussion with the winner of which haunted house they want to go to. We'll see if we can make it happen near you. Then you and a guest will get to go to a haunted house during October.
Yeah. I may join for the night.
Schedule permitting. Scheduling and location. Schedule and location permitting. Baconsale might even 2 out of 3 of us may join you. Who knows?
Pretty good odds.
Yeah.
There's a slight chance that some of us may be there.
Yeah, so if you want to enter to win, look for that post on social media. It'll be coming up this week.
But also, as a gift to our patrons, we also want to open this up. And it will be a slightly different post. Hey, if you want to give us Halloween costumes again, great. But you're doubling your chance to win.
Yes.
And we're going to make a post on patreon.com/Baconsale. And we're going to ask, who would like to go?
Yes, that's all it is. We want to make sure that you want to enter this contest. We're not going to automatically enter you. So patrons, watch for that extra post on Patreon, because that will be your extra chance to win, because we will be picking 2 winners.
Yes.
A listener winner and a patron winner.
You don't have to go together.
No, you don't have to go together. You can go different nights in different places.
Yes.
That's fine. But we will be announcing the winners on our October 16th show. So listen for that as well. And then make sure to like and follow our social media pages on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, X. And to make sure that you get a chance to make some fun October memories on Baconsale. So we love Halloween contests and Halloween costumes.
Once again, I was not the first person to say spoopy this year.
Yep.
That is true.
Yep.
But
Now you can.
That's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
Joel, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Spoopy?
Yeah, yes. Finally, because we're talking about Halloween costumes.
Ooh.
We're having our own Baconsale Halloween costume parade, and not like the awkward one that you mentioned earlier, where you go, you're casually finding a reason to go to your coworker's cubicle.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, look at my costume.
Yeah, I made this myself. This is one of those self-serving Baconsale episodes, and we'd like to apologize, but we think you might like us by now. So we're going to talk about the history of our own Halloween costumes and possibly the future. But also, obviously, we want you guys to play along as well. That's
true. Because this is one of those nostalgia shows. We've done these before. We kind of talk about memories from the past, and hopefully brings up memories from your past as well. But we have 13 categories of costumes that we'll be talking about today, and talking about our past. And this will give you some insight into our personalities as well.
Yeah.
Because, some of us dress as weird mashups that we have to explain to everyone all
Literally
the time.
every year you dress as a weird mashup.
And other people dress up as Ryan Gosling every year. I'm not gonna
How did you guess my costume this year?
I didn't point any fingers, but I do want to give, just at the beginning here, a brief history
of Halloween
costumes.
Okay.
Scary.
Cosplay.
Actually, have you seen pictures of old Halloween costumes?
I don't want to talk about
scary.
it. Okay.
Genuinely
Like
terrifying.
literally all they're doing is like a paper mache mask, but it looks
Why is this-
terrifying.
I mean, like even
It's
the,
in black and
the
white.
original like Disneyland characters were
Yeah.
the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, even like you watch those old, like you look at those, not even old, but like, I mean, they are old, but 80s pictures of, and 70s pictures of the kids with like the
80s
plastic
is
sheet,
old, Joel.
plastic sheet and the plastic mask, and there's something off-putting about that. Anyway, one of the earliest references to wearing Halloween costumes come from Scotland in 1585.
Wow.
Which is a long time to be dressing up for this kind of thing. But they may have had costumes before that. That was just like the first written reference. There are many references in the 18th and 19th centuries in the Celtic countries of Scotland, Ireland, Man and Wales, where they talk about wearing costumes, which the tradition came about because they believed, this is from Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge and truth,
Yeah.
that supernatural beings or souls of the dead were able to roam the earth on these particular nights. And so impersonating those beings or wearing a disguise was believed to protect oneself from them.
So it wasn't for trick-or-treating. It wasn't for
Not
a party.
necessarily.
Okay.
It was a festival, and
Sure.
there was food involved. But actually, as it went, and this was, the Celtic festivals of like Samhain. We hear about that. You watch later Halloween sequels.
Right.
And then Colin Gaiff in Wales. I don't know how to say that, in Cornwall and Brittany. They did something they called mumming. and guising, which guising you can figure out from disguising, and mumming was performing like a play in costumes. But people would go to house in costume, usually reciting verses or songs in exchange for food. And this was was because you were kind of giving this offering to the souls of the departed, and they were representing that to kind of appease, like, okay, this tradition of we're going to give you this offering, and therefore we will be free of bad luck or free from evil spirits for this next year.
Wow, okay.
And so that morphed, of course, into the North American version, which was first recorded around 1911 is when you start hearing it, up in Ontario, actually. And they talk about children going guising around the neighborhood, which I want everyone not to call it trick-or-treating. I want you to call it guising this year.
I'm going to from now on.
As you should. And then that, morphed a little more. And like there was a time there where it was like, oh, instead of this offering, you're basically bribing kids to not egg your house. Where it was like...
or to brag and be like, I love these neighbors. They give me the big candy bars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But before it was like, it was like that trick or treat. Like either give us a treat or we'll do some sort of trick on you.
Yeah.
But
or
then
we'll burn down your house.
And now it's just morphed into like this big commercial entity where people in 2022, I think the estimate was they reached $10.6 billion on Halloween spending. That's candy and costumes involved in that. And then it used to be they dress up as goblins and ghouls or spirits of the departed. And now it's like, funny political figures and sports heroes and movie characters.
Super fun. Yeah.
How many Barbie and Ken costumes are going to be this
so
year?
So many.
Yeah.
So, Joel, you and I have talked about our suburban upbringing and how many years we went trick-or-treating or guising. I guess we should say.
Guising.
Zach,
Guising.
what was your history like guising?
I did not guise all that much, and I never guised with other guys.
Good.
I trick-or-treated up until the end of elementary school. And then I stopped.
That's what I was going to ask, is what age do you think is appropriate to end trick-or-treating?
Until elementary school.
14 to 15 years old.
Okay.
And that's when people say...
A little older than Zach said.
That's when the people are like, are you a little old? And you're like, it's my last year. Dang it.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to avoid that. So... I
get it.
I was thinking, sixth grade. Once you move,
you had a full beard by the end of sixth grade, right?
Entirely true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and for me, it's a thing where I personally, my kids will probably stop around the time they're out of elementary.
Okay.
Like 12 to 14 is probably that range where it's like, okay, they either decide to or. But my policy as a passer of candy is that I'll give it to anyone in costume. If they're dressed up, if they're making an effort,
the effort is there.
Even if they're 16, 17, and they're in costume, I'm like, sure,
and so few people go out compared to years past.
Sure. Yeah.
That it's like if they're around, I want to promote that.
Did you continue to dress up, or did you and go out and trick or treat, or did you just stay at home?
I've never been too cool to not dress up.
Right, but you stayed home and passed out candy. You became a candy
I'm
passer?
still the parent that takes the kids out.
Okay,
and I go to parties here and there.
At about a decade gap.
Okay, where you didn't do anything. Right.
Yep.
Okay,
from about 12 to 22.
Because I still dress up every year, and some years I'm like, wait, I'm getting all dressed up, and I'm going like around the block.
Yeah,
like I don't even see my coworkers a lot of time anymore.
It's for the gram.
Yeah, I hate that it's true. All right,
let's get into this. Okay, first category. So again, 13 categories here. Might as well start early on. The first costume you remember wearing, Joel.
So for me, it's funny how a picture can create a memory.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember this costume, but do I remember this costume because I remember this costume, or do I remember this costume because there was a picture in our photo album as a kid of my brother wearing a vampire costume. He's got the widow's peak painted on and the fangs and pale makeup, and then me standing next to him as Spider-Man. No. I don't want you to picture like a Tobey Maguire,
of course not,
or a Tom Holland.
I picture
or even an Andrew
PJs
Garfield
that
costume.
are kind of falling apart.
No, not even that.
Okay.
So I'm wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt, which I probably already owned. I'm wearing a red jacket, and then my face is painted. And this is probably 86 or so. I'm about 6 or 7 years old, somewhere around there. But I have like a red face with the black lines drawn on it. And that was my amazing Spider-Man costume. And this is one of those that, once again, I don't know if the picture created the memory or if I really remembered it, but I remember loving that costume. Like, oh yeah, when I was Spider-Man,
and you
was
probably
awesome.
felt like Spider-Man.
And like nowadays, if a kid got his face painted and was wearing a red coat, he'd be like, this isn't the Spider-Man costume.
He's getting bullied for sure.
I want the one from Costco with the muscles in it. But for me, it was the coolest thing.
This is not Iron Spider, Mom.
Yeah. That's not what I asked for, Mother.
I want arms.
Yeah.
I want arms.
I want more arms.
But yeah, Spider-Man was and like I said, about 6 years old.
Did you wear this costume, or is this just 1 year, you think?
I think it was just 1 year.
Okay.
I want to bring this up here at the beginning. I went through my journal entries. I went through pictures. Of
course you did.
Joey's journal.
I went through, and then I pinged my brother and my dad, being like, "Okay, you gotta like look through the old photo albums and let me know." Thanks, Brent, and thanks, Dad, for that. But I got about 34 years worth of costumes.
Yes.
Like I have pictures
You're
going
only
back.
28. That's crazy.
My question is, how many years were you a hobo or vampire?
I don't think I ever was
What's
a
with the hobo costume?
we did that for my daughter one time. It's really easy to do.
Yeah, it is.
At least do lumberjack.
But it is funny to go back. I have like a listed year of everything I was until about 1995, and then it gets really fuzzy after that, before that. And so I have like random questions, but 34 years worth of costumes, including 2 years when I was in Portugal, and all I did was trade name tags with my missionary companion.
Oh, you were your companion. Adorable.
That's all we
sad
did.
to appropriate homeless culture.
People, I don't know if
It's
people
not
do
a
it as
thing
much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, people don't even use that term anymore.
I was going to say, are hobos not a thing anymore?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
There's no more
But costumes-
bags on the end of sticks.
Yeah.
We need more bags on the end of sticks.
like it's the Great
I
Depression.
totally forgot, but that was such a thing when
Yeah.
I was a kid. That's so
yeah.
weird.
Yeah. And it's one of those people, I don't know. Yeah, they don't really do it anymore. But yeah, 34 years with a costume. It was so much fun to walk down memory lane
Oh,
and see some of the
absolutely.
pictures. But sometimes I couldn't even tell what I was. I'm like, I got face paint on.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't know. Anyway, Kent.
First, I remember wearing, yes, I could go into the hobo costumes for the vampire, but the first one, and maybe it was the picture thing, I feel like I remember how embarrassed I was to wear this. I was a pumpkin. Now, to describe this pumpkin, it was essentially just like this bag that was orange, but it was like a canvas bag that was like a jack-o'-lantern, and my arm stuck out of it, and my head stuck out of the top. So it went from like my neck down to my knees.
So you were how old? 18?
Most of these, yes. I was about 6 years old.
Okay, around the same
And
time.
so I think my mom may have painted my face green because I was like the pumpkin sprout.
Yeah, the stem right there.
I probably wore this 2 or 3 years in a row because
Really?
my mom, we grew up a little poor.
Yeah.
And so purposely it was like, yeah, we have this costume on hand. And you had to stuff the pumpkin, right? It didn't naturally come with padding.
Oh, so it wasn't like one of the padded fabric
like,
ones.
but it could be filled and it would be a circle shape. And so instead of like pillows or foam or whatever, we put newspaper. We crumpled up newspaper and put that inside. So I'm walking around making so much noise, probably getting so many paper cuts. I'm going to have to find a picture because I haven't seen it in years. But that's the first one I ever remember wearing. Pretty sad, but kind of formative.
Yeah.
Zach, what about you?
I thought I had one, and then Kent, you unlocked a memory a little bit earlier. So what I thought I was going to say was Batman. One of my early elementary school kind of parade costumes. It was specifically Val Kilmer, Batman Forever.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So which that movie came out in 95. So I think it was it's probably the Halloween of 96.
Okay.
I remember that costume because it had like a foam like chest plate, and it had it kind of wrapped around, and this thing was thin to the point where the little ties of elastic that kept it on your body ripped.
Of course they did.
And my teachers had to come in and get like a hole punch and punch a hole in the foam chest piece and retie it like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
This thing, and then this was really disappointing because I was so proud of this costume, and that was one of the dreaded years as a kid in Utah that you had to wear your coat trick or treat. So I had a coat on over my Batman costume. However, that was what I was gonna say. However, earlier you reminded me that I think maybe the year before or even 2 years before that, I went as Peter Pan.
Okay.
And this was notable because the exact same year, my cousin was Robin Hood. And I was so mad at him.
Those are very
Exact
similar
same.
costumes.
Very similar costumes, but his was cooler because he had a bow and arrow.
Yeah, well, is the bow and arrow the only difference in costumes?
It's the only difference. And here's the thing. So he had a bow and arrow. What does Peter Pan have? What's his weapon of choice?
The dagger.
It's a dagger.
Oh, yeah.
So my parents are looking for a dagger for me. And we look all around and finally settle on, you remember those old military toy packs?
Dollar Tree or all dollar back in the day.
They have a grenade,
Yeah.
and like a compass.
The Rambo knife?
The Rambo. It was the Rambo knife with like the spiky parts at the back.
Bowie knife?
The Bowie knife.
Serrated and everything.
Serrated edge on the back.
Dude, Peter Pan got hard.
That's the only thing we could find. And so and it was notable to me because I was like, this knife is so cool. And I remember when the trick-or-treating was over, I was like, can I have the rest of the pack, please? And it had like a canteen.
Yeah.
Nice.
How do you think Captain Hook lost his leg?
Yeah. This canteen's got pixie dust in it.
So I was Peter Pan with a feather in my felt cap. with
A serrated machete.
military knife.
That's awesome.
You know, I was really worried that we weren't going to have enough content.
Yeah.
And here we are, one category in.
Yeah.
We're fine. Next up, we have best pop culture character.
So many to choose from because this is generally where I lean.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I like movies and I like having a costume to go off of, but I'm going to go with Luke Skywalker. It's the only time I've ever dressed up.
I've seen that picture of you.
You've seen
that.
this picture, and this was specifically not for Halloween, though I did wear it, but it was
for a
made
dance.
for a Halloween dance at Davis High in 1998.
There is one of your playlists on Spotify that has this as its
Yeah,
cover.
many people have seen this picture. I am a tiny, I'm very young. I'll just say this. I'm very young. I look super innocent. My date was Princess Leia.
And this is before Kent blossomed into the handsome man he is
oh,
today.
thank you, Zach.
You are a fine wine, Kent Dunn.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever
and
said.
You were an awkward little grape. in
I
that
was
photo.
an awkward kid. And even at the time, once again, I told the story too much, but she came up with the costumes. Her mom made them, and she said, hey, we're going to be Star Wars characters for the dance. And I'm like, great. And she said, I'm going to be Princess Leia. I'm like, great. I love Han Solo. I hope there's a cool vest. I hope I get a blaster. This will be great. And she shows up and says, here's your cheap lightsaber. Here's your robe and your belt and your Luke Skywalker. I'm like, we're going to the dance.
I like the shiny belt.
His brother and sister. Yeah, it's a very shiny belt. And yeah, so I was a tiny kid dressed up like Luke Skywalker.
I like that I have a visual of this now. And we will,
Yeah.
I was going to say, some of these will be posted as the episode art. There it is.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now and showing it to Joel.
Listen,
so good.
if you just watch the first movie, that's a great date idea.
It really is. Yeah, if you've only seen the first one.
All right, Zach, what about you?
Well, I threw out a little extra to Batman Forever, and I could have put that here now.
Sure.
My list is all scrambled.
Ever-changing.
However, the year after the Batman Forever costume. And this is literally
Batman and Robin.
Literally because I saw a kid do this in that year, and I've thought about it and wanted it. In 1995, we see the appearance of the blue M&M. And so the year after, or maybe it was Halloween 97 then, I was like, I want to be a blue M&M though.
How?
M&M costumes are great.
What?
So it's this, you literally put on.
Joel and I have no idea where this
like,
is going.
It's like a torso
Yeah.
to like below your waist.
No,
like a Humpty Dumpty
that's a question, by
costume?
the way. Did your moms make your costumes, or did you buy your costumes? Like how
Generally homemade.
I
Yeah.
don't remember them. My mom made really good costumes when I was a kid. I've only seen pictures, so I didn't include that because I don't remember.
Was
my
the
mom
store-bought, though?
The
M&M?
M&M was store bought.
Okay.
My mom made me a awesome shark costume when I was a kid. I don't remember. My parents
you were a
made
baby
me
shark?
Commander Riker.
I've
from
heard
Star Trek
that,
number
yeah.
2
with your beard?
They gave me a fake
When you were in
fake
12
beard.
you were
Yeah,
12,
I was like
yeah.
2, right?
Yeah.
But no, this is so I'm like seven, maybe 8 years old, and I'm a blue M&M, and it's like literally like my head sticks out and it goes over my shoulders, and like my legs stick out.
Did you wear like white leggings?
Yeah, I think I had like white legging type pants with it, and it had these rubber gloves where there was only 3 fingers, so you had to put your middle fingers together.
Oh, I feel so
that's
stuck
so
right
and
now.
they were
I'm feeling claustrophobic.
they were the weirdest, like stiff, sweaty thing, and then I wore like a white long sleeve shirt. But for some reason, as I sweat, the inside of the gloves started turning blue, and they like made blue marks on my hand. It was the weirdest
cut
thing.
off circulation.
And I couldn't grab things. It was very awkward. But I was a blue M&M. baby.
Your best pop culture character was a blue M&M.
It was the height. He was a brand new character.
it was groundbreaking.
I was so happy to be a blue M&M, and I would wear that costume tomorrow if I could.
Without the gloves, please.
Without the gloves.
yeah.
yeah.
All right, Joel, what about you?
Like Kent, I'm a big fan of pop culture characters.
You veered away from that, though, in the past couple of years.
A little bit, yeah. But I've been Ron Swanson. I've been Captain Malcolm Reynolds. I've been the Pie Maker from Pushing Daisies. I've been a character from Highlander.
Edward.
I've been Edward.
Yep.
From Twilight. But it was a mockery of him. I was very sparkly.
Sure.
I was very
You
sparkly.
looked very handsome.
Thank you. But no, I actually chose. I started doing these weird mashups and then kind of got stuck with them.
Yeah.
But the one that I thought was like 2 pop culture characters mixed together was my costume in 2016, which was 11th, because I was a mashup of 11 from Stranger Things, who wears a little pink dress, and the 11th Doctor from Doctor Who. who wears a fez.
Yeah.
I actually bought the official pink Stranger Things dress from Hot Topic.
Really?
I had to go in there.
Is it expensive?
More than I wanted to
Yeah,
pay.
of course it is.
And then I had to add like pink fabric at the bottom because it was way too short. My wife added fabric.
Not modest enough for you?
Yeah, she did a fabulous job. Well, it was very uncomfortable. And then I wore like a red fez and a tan coat and then tube socks with like these clunky brown shoes.
You had the Eggo waffles.
And then I had Eggo waffles and I had a box of Eggo waffles.
Yeah.
And inside the box was a sonic screwdriver.
Perfect.
The 11th sonic screwdriver. So this was one where I felt I appealed to two different fandoms. But I do this all the time where I do like these two obscure fandoms where there's not a lot of overlap. Although Stranger Things and Doctor Who, a little more mainstream.
You do a pun.
Sometimes I do.
It's a pun.
Yeah, sometimes I do. And this was one where 11th, I really enjoyed that mashup because I was like, how has no one ever done this before?
Yeah.
They probably did, but in my mind, I was the first.
You just got a twofer.
Yeah. Two for pop culture.
Yeah.
Wow. But have you ever been an M&M? Kent? Joel, that sounds really complicated.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
not a huge fan of complicated costumes. I prefer easy costumes. Our next category is easiest to put together. And I'll start. So I have this thing that happens to me fairly regularly.
It's a mango thing. If you eat mangoes, you almost die.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but
Acid
I'm going to do it
reflux.
anyway.
Gary.
Almost everything makes me sick. People will say this thing to me like, hey, has anyone ever told you that you look like, and then autofill here, my answer, which is Jim from The Office.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that I look like Jim from The Office or John Krasinski.
Okay,
for
humble
years.
brag.
You don't look that much like Randall Park to me.
I don't. So 1 year I leaned into it, and this was the easiest costume ever. So I was a manager at Sizzler, so every day I wore slacks and a shirt and tie. And so I just wore that to work one day. I didn't do my hair. I just left it messy.
You didn't go like 3-hole punch, Jim?
And I cut out 3 hole punches.
There it is.
Taped them to my shirts. And that was the hardest part. I wore my normal clothes, cut out a couple pieces of paper, stuck it to my body. And then I grabbed one of the coffee mugs from the restaurant and just walked around with that all day with water in it. And I just made the face. It was so easy.
Did people know?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they knew. I've actually shown people the picture, and they're like, "Oh wow, that's." Actually
Did you do
pretty
the
good."
little hair with wings thing that he did?
I tried to. My hair wasn't that long, and
Yeah.
it's super straight, so it didn't like work super well. But,
Sure.
it's
People got
there.
the point.
People did.
Can I just say it's one of my favorite things when employees dress up? Like when I go into a store or into a restaurant and like the employees are dressed up for Halloween. I love that.
Yeah.
And I love driving around on Halloween, just seeing people in costumes. Makes me happy. So Zach,
there's-
thank you for being joy to
Yeah.
Sizzler.
There's a picture that I have of me and a couple of my coworkers, and it's me as Jim from The Office. My buddy was Thor, because it was like the year that Thor came out.
Okay.
And then there's one of the servers who just wore a Brett Favre jersey. So we're like, yeah, we're Thor, Jim, and a 90s football fan. What about you, Joel?
So for me, my easiest costume to put together was the one I basically wore from the years of 1995 to 2006. It was my mask years.
You had mask years? Like
No.
a decade of masks?
Every year, what I would do is I'd go online, I'd find a mask I like.
Okay.
And these were like good, nice latex masks. And I'd buy it, and then I'd wear the same outfit every year. It would be a black shirt, black pants, black socks, black shoes, black belt, and then a big
Black Cadillac.
and then a big. It was a time bomb.
Yeah.
But I'd wear this big black overcoat. It would kind of give me bulk, but I'd be this, presence. And then I'd black out my mouth and my eyes, and then I'd put on the mask. And then I would do some makeup on the back of the hands to match whatever the mask was.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what I'd wear. And so for 10 years, all I did was except for the 2 years in Portugal. But I had a Crypt Keeper mask. It was one of the first ones I ever bought. I had a Wolfman mask where the jaw actually like attaches to your jaw.
Oh, so
it
cool. I
moves.
love those.
One called Barnabas was like this creepy old man. Grump, which was like this weird troll. Sewage, which is like the skeleton with the hair hangs over his face. Gates of Hell, which was this kind of zombie-looking one with a missing eye.
Did you keep these? Do you still have them?
Well, that's what I was going to say. And then Rattler was the last one I bought around 2006 or so. But after I wore them, they would become part of the decorations the next year. So
Oh, cool.
There'd be
Yeah.
a new face in the window. There'd be a new body hanging from the ceiling. This is my parents' house. And I went all out. And so then as I had these masks, and still to this day, I have them in my windows at home where I put them up. And I have all names for them. My kids know the names for them. But mask years, it was real easy because all I did was put on a mask.
In a dark outfit.
In an all-black outfit.
Oh, that's awesome. But it's not as easy as lederhosen. So this is
All you have to do is fly to Germany.
you have to date someone in Germany,
Date someone in Germany.
fly there, spend a couple $100
Bunch of money.
for an authentic elk skin lederhosen outfit.
That was elk skin?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's so comfortable. They seem bulky, but they're super great. And it's basically
Explain lederhosen to people who... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's so it's thin white shirt. The lederhosen are basically a really thick pair of shorts that people wear to traditional.
Overalls. Doesn't it go up?
Yeah,
to the
so you
straps?
do get suspenders with those. People don't always wear the suspenders, but you have those as well.
Did you hear polka in the distance?
Yeah, basically.
So wait, lederhosen is just the shorts?
Essentially shorts, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and people wear suspenders. You don't need them, but also you usually have either knee-high socks or just high socks and dress shoes, and that's it. And sometimes a hat, sometimes you don't need the hat, but it's all about just the shorts. And so I bought those in 2021. Halloween was coming up, and I have not been very creative in the past couple of years. I haven't really tried, especially with the pandemic, right? Yeah. I don't go to work. We don't have
He doesn't
the
have an
parades
office to have a parade in.
to show off.
You work, you just don't go to work.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you.
Yeah.
So then I was like, hey, Halloween's coming up. And I also got my two daughters dirndls, which are the traditional
little
dresses.
clay things they spin on Hanukkah, right?
Yes, that exactly. And so I'm like, hey, let's just dress like Germans. That would be perfect. And one of them did. The other one dressed like an anime character. So she totally ruined the theme.
So you know who the favorite daughter is.
Oh, absolutely. But I dressed up in my lederhosen, and it felt kind of awesome. And I just threw it together because I had it on hand.
But that's the funny thing about these Halloween costumes. It seems the easiest to put together, except for Zach's. It's usually costs more. It's like easy because you bought it and boom, it's done.
Right.
Like the masks were expensive.
Yeah.
Like they were pretty expensive masks. But
I'm getting mileage out of this because I've gone to German festivals since then, like in Ogden.
Yeah.
And it's me and the 80-year-old men wearing lederhosen.
Nice.
I love it.
Now, the opposite of that, what is the most elaborate costume that you've had to put together, Joel?
Well, I do these stupid puns where I mash these things up together, and then it ends. I have this idea, and I'm like, I'll try this, and then it turns out to be more complicated. But one of the ones, when I say most elaborate, it's because I 3D printed something, and it was kind of crazy.
It's cool.
In 2021,
Yes.
I was the Mandarin Orangian.
I love this one. I was waiting for this one.
I had a friend print out a full-size 3D mask, a Mandalorian mask.
Did you pay him for that?
But yeah, but in bright orange.
So no,
bright
actually,
orange.
been meaning to do that.
Oh yeah, I ought to do that. Thanks, Dave. By the way, I had this mask, and then I had to find a dark visor to put inside of it, which was way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Like I was like, oh, I'll just put some mesh in there, but that I couldn't find the right type. And then I ended up going to an auto parts store and getting it's like a screen for your window, like a shade for your window that you stick on there.
Yeah.
Cut it out and put it on there.
Wow.
And then I bought an orange costume because it was the Mandalorian, but as an orange, Mandarin orange. So I had kind of like Zach's blue M&M costume. I had this big round orange thing going around.
It's very similar.
And then I decided, hey, he has a rocket pack. I'll make a rocket pack.
What are you doing?
So I took 2 orange crush bottles and a Fanta bottle and arranged them in a way that looked like a jet pack, which I then had to attach to the orange, which attaching stuff to other stuff is never easy.
No, it's not.
The glue comes off, the string breaks. It's always so frustrating. But I finally got it done, and I put it together. I was wearing like khaki pants, and I had like gloves on. And I have to say, this is the closest I've ever come to cosplay, because this is one of those years where I walked around going, I'm literally just doing this for the neighbors. I didn't see anyone else. And then for the gram.
Yeah.
But the Mandarin Orangian was overly complicated, but I liked the way it turned out.
And it looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Kent?
The year was 2014.
Yeah.
And I thought, no one thinks about Cats, the musical.
I was waiting for this.
So why not make a character...
This is pre-Cats movie.
This is pre-Cats movie, by the way. So it was like famous in the 80s. And I was like, I need a hipster costume. And there may be a category for this. But I'm like, what if I made a Mr. Mistopheles costume? And I'm going to make
Mr.
this.
Mistopheles, the original Conjuring cat.
Exactly.
The greatest magicians have something to learn about Mr. Mistopheles' Conjuring Town.
Great. Now I have to find an 8-bit version of that for the end of the show.
And we all say, oh, well, was there really ever?
Oh. See, Zach, remember when you were saying you didn't like Cats?
Mr.
Here's the fan over here.
Mistopheles.
Still don't.
The only good song in Cats, I might add.
Memories.
Memories. I'm sorry.
Easy.
I'm sorry, Memories.
Take it easy.
Memories, Mr. Mistopheles. That's it.
All the things we get on Joel for.
Wow.
Hey, Memories is really
Really,
great.
Mr.
guys.
Mistopheles?
Rare.
Remember, a cat is not a dog, okay?
That's true.
So dumb.
Anyway, you were Mr. Mistopheles.
So I was Mr. Mistopheles. This was a previous job that Joel and I worked at,
Kent
and there were
walks in the office.
There were 60 people that worked in this one. It was an open office, and I'm like, I'm going to make a splash. And they may not know I'm from Cats, but they'll know that I'm a 6'2" homemade cat costume, essentially.
It was like it was all black with like a white chest.
So what I did is I had to start with the hair, and it was a black wig from Savers, and I cut it and I hairsprayed it to death, so it looked like cat ears.
It's like
that was really hard to keep together.
Yeah.
I painted my whole face like Mr. Mistopheles.
Yes, like
my neck was white
play.
and everything too. I got a church shirt that was a black church shirt, and I cut off the sleeves so I could be sleeveless there. And I had black like a unitard on underneath. I made this white furry patch for my chest. I put on a bow tie.
How did you make a white furry patch for your chest? Like fabric?
I found fabric, and I just kind of wore like a necklace.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I obviously made a tail. I got like these workout socks from Flashdance to put over my dress shoes as little, my cat legs, I guess.
Yeah.
The whole thing was so elaborate, and I'm not very good at like face painting, and I can't really find the right face paint, and so it always kind of smears really easily. And I had to hold on to this costume
the worst
all day.
When you have your face makeup on and then your face itches and you itch it and you look at your finger, you're like, no, makeup.
So when I got home from work and I said, hey, girls, we have about an hour before we go trick-or-treating, they didn't want to go with me.
What?
Because I'm this large cat man taking them trick-or-treating, and they're just cute like Ariel from Little Mermaid, right?
Oh, man.
I embarrassed them so badly. And thankfully, no one knew who I actually was in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I should have just strapped a little Bluetooth speaker to you. Like,
Exactly.
Seriously, though,
Jellicle cats.
He was a huge hit at work that day. Like, everyone thought it was hilarious.
It was
And
so embarrassing.
He did a whole photo shoot.
Oh, we did this photo shoot by the ping pong table where I was trying to hit the balls. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was acting like a cat. It was really funny.
It was so dumb.
That's definitely one that I remember, Kent.
Zach, what about you?
Just a few years ago, I was Beetlejuice. I won't say it too many times.
Yeah, just once.
So I had kind of one of the generic, suits you can get.
The
whatever
striped suit, black and white striped suit.
Yeah, undead guy, whatever.
Oh, at the Spirit Halloween?
Yeah.
Post Broadway? Or was it more movie based?
It was movie based.
Okay,
movie-ish. Well, it was kind of concurrent. I think it was actually actively running on Broadway.
Gotcha.
Which gave me a little bit more idea because the Broadway Beetlejuice had a beard, which I was like, cool, I can work with that.
Does it?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. The original. So anyway, I get the suit, the striped suit, and it came with like a tie and a shirt and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to jazz this up? So first of all, I took the clothes and I took them out to my backyard and I threw them in the dirt. And I like crumpled them into the dirt to actually make it, like genuinely dirty. And then I got some glow in the dark paint and I threw a little splotches of glow in the dark paint all over the clothes. And then went to the craft store and got moss. Like types like stringy stuff, fake whatever you can put into plants and stuff. So I got that and like spirit gummed it to my face.
Oh, wow.
I had the white makeup and the
Who did your makeup?
Dark eyes. I did.
You did?
Yeah,
You look great.
I had to dark around my eyes. I like darkened up the lips and I glued the stuff to my face and I had green spray paint in my hair and it was a whole deal.
Yeah.
And then I did it for a party, which was like the weekend before. And then I felt like I had to recreate it for Halloween, and it was I can't believe I had to do it twice.
Honestly.
And that little Pete Mossy stuff that I had on my it was everywhere. It was the worst.
I want to
hated
see a
it so
picture of
much.
that, Zach.
It was really good. But there you go. I don't know how many times I've said it. It was Beetlejuice, and I feel like it's fairly successful. Also,
it looked great.
Side note: I wore Chucks. That was fun.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have the best couple/duo/group costume is based on being with somebody else. Kent?
I almost hate to do this because it's just like my memories with Joel, because we've worked at a couple jobs together, and at this particular job, we all just got really into the season.
It was a good culture of coworkers there.
Yes. So this was Halloween 2015, and I was talking with a couple coworkers, and I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love to be the center of attention.
Oh, I know which one this is.
And so I'll come up with an idea or have a conversation. I said, hey, you know what no one's talked about in a long time is Captain Planet and the Planeteers. You guys remember that show? And some people were like, yeah. Some people said no. And I said, hey, what if we did a group costume? But of course, I'm Captain Planet.
Did you say it like that?
Yeah, of course. I'm the one that came up with the idea, and I just need to be the main guy.
Who had to be Hart, though? That's the sad thing.
I think it was Who. No, Who fit as Hart. Because we got a friend named Who. Anyways, this is not Who's on First. Anyways, so it was this amazing setup. This was also an elaborate thing, but it was more for this category.
You had a lot of leotards in your costume.
Yeah, this was a morph suit from Zerchers. And so it was like a teal turquoise morph suit.
Point of order, it's pronounced Zerkers.
Is it Zerkers?
Yes.
I hate the name. It's like Hughead.
Not Zerchers?
Zerkers?
Huh.
Change your name and put a K in it.
Go on.
Anyways, I painted my face the same color. I sprayed my hair green. And let's see, I made just like this chest plate out of a sweater. I cut that up. I cut up some shorts.
Yep.
I got Wonder Woman boots.
Yep.
They're Wonder Woman / Superman boots, which I still have and I still love. And
You're wearing them right now.
I'm wearing them actually right now. The whole setup was this. And once again, because I love attention, I'm kind of late. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was the last one to work this day. And it was the Halloween parade day. Oh. And so everyone was there. There was the 50 or 60 people sitting there in their chairs. And everyone was like dressed like a Planeteer. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't really tell. It looked like they were just going on safari with maybe an orange wig.
Yeah.
And everyone had their ring proudly displayed.
Mm-hmm.
But I text and I said, hey, I'm coming up the stairs right now. I'm about to open the door, which leads to everyone sitting at their desks.
Yeah, the bullpen there.
And so all of a sudden I'm like, here's what we're going to do. You guys are one at a time going to say, Earth! From across the room, wind, water, fire, heart. And then I jumped in, I slammed the door open, poof, and I walk in, I go, with your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. And we worked at this professional atmosphere.
Yeah.
Totally disrupting the entire morning, but it was such a great memory.
Oh, we loved it.
Yeah, and we did this whole photo shoot because there were a lot of groups that year, and we won the best group costume. So
yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah.
I think I love Halloween.
I think you do too.
Zach, what about you?
So mine isn't necessarily like dependent. I have a lot of dependent costumes in my life, but this one it was a group theme for work. So I worked on at a call center, and the team I was on the quality team, and they were very particular about Halloween, and like there were contests and all that. They had to win, and so we literally months in advance were like putting in votes on what we should be. We finally settled on a movie theater theme. And so like our whole area was decorated like a movie theater, and we had to be
like a ticket taker, an usher, stuff like that?
We just had to be something from a movie.
Okay.
So it was an
gotcha.
easy way of everybody having a variety of costumes, but there had to be a theme. And so we printed off like a movie posters for whatever movie we were.
Cool.
And that allowed people to be all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
My boss came as Ace Ventura. She's a woman, and so she was a very outgoing Ace Ventura, stuff like that. So I went as Zoolander. I was obviously from the movie Zoolander, and so I had gone to like Savers, and I got myself some like black boots, and I got this like fluffy sweater, this weird striped sweater.
Perfect.
And I had a headband that I put the pattern of the sweater like on the headband or whatever.
You have to match.
And
so
then,
hot.
And then I had like really like defined sparkly dark blue like cheek makeup.
Yeah.
From Derelict at the end of
No
Zoolander.
beard at this time, I'm assuming.
No
Okay.
beard. Yeah, I think I shaved for this.
Yeah, I
for
would
this.
too.
And then on the way into work, I stopped by a Starbucks, and I'm like, "Hey, do you have any orange drinks?" They're like, "No." It's like, "Can I just have a large water with a lid and a straw, please?" They're like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So I like on the way to work, I go, "Oh, well, I don't have an orange drink. What am I going to do?" So I stop by a little grocery store. I get some Sunny D and whipped cream.
Nice.
And I drink all of this water, and I fill it with Sunny D, and I mix in some whipped cream, and I had my orange mocha frappuccino.
Love it.
And I walked around with that all day, just drinking Sunny D. And so yeah, I was constantly making the face, and I committed to the bit. I never turned left the whole day.
Oh wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
And was your hair just kind of like floofed up, or were you wearing a wig?
It was floofed up, and I had the headband.
Okay.
And there's pictures of all of us. We're all various things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm making the face.
I need to see a picture, obviously.
Of course. It'll be in the image, maybe.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. I was Derek Zoolander and Derelict.
I like it.
Very cool.
I like it.
Joel?
Now, there's a couple there's so many I could go through here. There was a time me and my roommates, we were in pink, which was, we were all wearing like pink outfits as a boy band. It was a whole made up thing.
Like in sync, but in pink?
It was in pink.
Oh,
like I drew on like a little beard. There was a time where I was a brain guy from Mystery Science Theater, and my son one is a little brain guy, like a miniature version of me.
Cute.
And from Mystery Science Theater. And we actually tweeted out to Bill Corbett, and he loved it and retweeted it to all his followers. That
Cool.
was awesome. And one time I convinced, my wife was she's never really been big into costumes, but one year I convinced her to be a Black Widow, and not the spider. Like she was a widow wearing all black, but then she had this dagger in her purse, and I was the late husband, and I had stab marks all over my back and my
I like
throat
that.
cut. That was my image on my debit card for a while there. Yeah. But the one I went with was one where it actually was kind of out of necessity. We had 6 roommates living together at BYU. This is back in 2003. And some of the guys were just not into Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to do something as a group, but they were really not into it. But we finally convinced them to be time zones.
Time zones.
We were the 6 time zones of the continental U.S. with Hawaii. And we were, so we went to 6 time zones: Atlantic, Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific, and Hawaiian. And then what we did was we all had T-shirts where we made a map on the back where it had like the geography of where we were. We had our name on the front. I think I was Central Time. And then we all had working clocks hung around our neck.
No way.
You know, who's that guy who always wore the clock around his neck? The rapper. I can't remember his name.
Little John.
Thank you, Little John. We had working clocks around our neck with the current time of our time zones.
That's so clever.
And we were so proud of it. And we get to the dance, we're going to show off. And we showed up, got a big entrance. We all walk in, everyone looks at us, got us some applause. We're like, This is great. And like 2 of the guys right away were like, all right, we're out, we're done.
Oh.
And I'm like, what?
Freaking Atlantic.
So I was bugged.
By the way, it wasn't Little John at all. It was Flavor Flav. That's going to bug me. Flavor Flav!
Yeah.
Sorry.
The guys from Pink are apologizing now.
Sorry.
But no, so going as time zones was one of those. And it was so easy to do, but we had
That's so
6 people
creative,
and it worked
though.
out well. So I was happy with time zones. It's my best group costume.
Love
That's
it.
what I said.
All right. Well, I feel like we've talked about a lot of success so far. Now let's talk about a costume you kind of like a redo on. You want, maybe you could do a little bit better or anything like that. So I'm going to start here, and I'll talk about my costume from 2 years ago. I'm now, I'm a family man at this point, and my wife and I like to, as often as we can, we like to do the family coordinating thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that year, I had my stepkids adorably dressed as Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Cute.
And they looked awesome, and they were, you don't have to do much with the face, right? You don't have to do makeup or anything really. You just have the ears and the clothes, and it's easy and it's adorable. Well, my wife and I didn't really do costumes. We did the Disney bound thing. If you're not familiar, Disney bounding is just like wearing regular-ish clothes that are referential to a character. So my wife and I were Donald and Daisy. As Donald, literally, I was wearing a blue shirt.
Just a shirt, no pants.
No pants. Yeah.
You got kicked out of Disney for that.
The Winnie the Pooh costume was awkward as well. No pants. But it's I had a blue shirt, a red bow tie, like white shorts.
Okay.
Yellow Converse. And it was like that. That was it.
That's
and
cool.
It was cool as a Disney bound.
Sure.
And then my wife, she had like a white dress with a pink cardigan and the accessories and things like that.
But why would you want to redo it? That
We looked good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough of a costume, right? It was a little too like.
Would you go full Donald?
We're referencing things. I don't know that I would maybe do something.
You weren't at Disneyland doing this. This was just
we did this at Disneyland and it worked great. But when we were with the kids trick or treating, and they are in a cute Minnie and Mickey Mouse costumes, and we're like semi-referential. It worked okay.
Why is that man wearing no pants?
Yeah, take your pants off, sir. No, it was okay, right? And it worked. But if I could do it again, I think I might have given just a touch more effort.
Yeah.
And maybe even been a little goofy.
Like a duck body that's
You can't
pretty...
be goofy, you're Donald.
That's true.
Right, it's pretty thick, and you wear like yellow leotard.
Yeah, something like that. I actually think I might have worn yellow tights.
Okay.
Which, was close, but just... I would have... If I could do it again, I think I might put... just a little bit more effort in a comical sense.
I get that.
I think I would have more in the vein of your cat's costume.
Yeah.
Kent. Like
it looks homemade, and we all know
that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But nice. So if I could do it again, I think I might go just a couple steps more effort.
I would like to see that.
Joel,
in 2014, my costume did turn out, but it was the process of getting it to turn out that was difficult and a little I want to redo on. So my plan was zombie, meaning a zombie bee. And so I was like, okay, I'm actually going to use my Gates of Hell mask, which is the zombie with like the missing eye. And then I was like, okay, I could just use that, and then I can get a bee costume, and boom, zombie. That'll be easy. And so I went on Amazon, and I ordered a bee costume. I should have read it a little closer, because it was actually called, the full name was Forum Novelties Men's Honeymooners Bee Costume. The costume had a big plastic butt on the back.
I remember.
Mooners.
Honeymooners. And if I would have read one one single review that I would have noticed. People are saying, "Hey, watch out! It's got a butt on it. It's got a big
like a
plastic
pink
butt.
bum,
big pink tiny right there." So it showed up. And I was like,
"You were
what
the
do I
last
do?"
person that should be ordering this, by the way."
Well, and it was also a thing where I was like,
I'm a sexy bee.
I always like have this idea, and I kick it around and kick it around and kick it around, and then when it comes to be crunch time, I have no time. And so it's arrived. I'm like, I don't have time to return it. I don't know what I'm going to do. So what I ended up doing was I was trashing the costume anyway because I was going to be a zombie. And Zach, I actually did bury it in the ground as well for a couple nights.
Nice.
Just like dug a hole in the dirt and stuffed it in there.
Love it.
And then I slashed it all up. But then I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I cut out the rear end on the back, and like it was all really ragged. And then I spray painted it black. And I said, that's just where my stinger was. That's why I'm dead. Because the stinger came out.
Oh, that's clever.
Now it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it was so stressful for a while there being like, I don't know what to do with the honeymooners costume. So if I were to go back, I'd love a redo and just get a normal one. And it worked out fine, but that stress of just being like, I don't know what to do because this costume has a plastic butt on it.
All right, for me, it was 2007. I was working at Barnes Bank, and our theme was superheroes. And so me being me, I'm like, I'm going to be Batman. But not just any Batman. I'm going to be Adam West.
Oh, okay.
But the problem about working at a bank or really wearing a costume to any job or to school is you can't wear a mask.
No.
And how do you be Batman without a mask? So what I did is, well, actually, my ex, she made me a really awesome shiny cowl, which honestly looked great. Attached to the cape, I had gray long johns, which were perfect.
Yep.
I made the Batman patch. I had shorts. It just looked like PJs, and it worked out great, except for the mask. And this is what I would redo. In fact, I would like to remake the whole costume and wear it to Comic-Con because I would add the mask. Because I had the cowl, but it went up to like my hairline, and then I had just paint the upper part of my face like dark purple, essentially. And it once again, it's the greasy makeup that kind of drained.
It was like, we can't have masks, but we can fully paint our face.
Yeah, and that was it. And it was just so awkward. And I understand. You work at a financial institution.
Yeah,
you shouldn't wear a mask.
Yeah.
But like it felt
Shouldn't walk into a financial institution wearing a mask.
But I was Batman. But it just felt awkward. And I loved the costume itself. It was fun to wear. It's old school Batman. But it became super lame just for that reason. So yeah, full cape and cowl next time.
Do you have a picture of that, kid?
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely
I'm
wanna
looking
see a
at it
picture.
right now. It's something. All right, now I'm sure this is most of Kent's costumes. And what's your hipster pick?
Oh, this is Joel all the way.
No,
you have to find the pun in
I have
his.
to explain.
Joel's
all
is
mine.
you have if you know
Yeah,
type
okay.
costumes.
Yeah,
But
no,
what's your
there's
hipster pick?
definitely some. Like I did one last year that was like Edgar Allan Poe, but Poe from Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Which is that underlying between those that love Edgar Allan Poe and those that have seen Teletubbies.
Which is actually
And I ripped it off from a Divine Comedy sketch from years ago. But that's not the one I picked because I ended up going with Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett. Now, why? Why do you say this is my hipster pick? Because this was in 2007 when I did this. This was before the movie came
Was it
out.
really?
Yes.
Well, was it? That was months before the movie.
Months
Yeah,
before the
just
movie came out.
barely.
But
That came out in December.
I hadn't seen anything at this point. It came out December that year, and this is October.
Were you just a big fan of the production?
I just recently discovered it. Like
Okay.
someone, I knew about Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber, Fleet Street,
Sure.
whatever. And I remember a girl came as Mrs. Love one time, and I said, "Well, what's this?" This is a year before, I think it was, and I said, "What's that?" And so she kind of explained it, and I was like, "That's a pretty awesome thing." So she
Yeah.
gave me the CD to listen to. I ended up reading the play, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is awesome!" And so I wanted to be Sweeney Todd for Halloween. And my look was completely different from what Johnny Depp ended up doing.
Sure.
It was kind of this slick down hair, this pale complexion, dark eyes. And then I had a straight razor, which is not as... That's one of those things where it took me forever to find.
Yeah.
So I had a straight razor, and then I had blood going all up my arm and across my chest. And then my wife, once again, who's not a huge fan of Halloween and was very pregnant at the time, ended up being Mrs. Lovett with like an apron and like flour.
She's
and
such a
pie.
good sport.
She is. She's amazing. It was just one of those costumes that I was like, cool, yeah, I'm Sweeney Todd. I'm part of this now. And then the movie came out and everyone was Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my hipster pick, because I liked it before the pie was cool.
Still piping hot. Kent?
Nathan Drake. This was Halloween 2013. And it sounds weird, right? We've talked about the Uncharted video game series a few times. It doesn't seem as hipster. But you have to remember, this was Uncharted 1 or 2 on the PS3.
Yeah.
I was basically saying, hey, you guys like Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider? Forget about that. What about the other adventurer
Yeah.
Right?
I was just disappointed you didn't come as Lara Croft.
Well, I would have, except for Joel. Apparently, I've learned since that you gained a respect for me, even though you and I had worked together for over a year at this point.
That's why I was like, hey, this guy's cool.
I was already cool.
What did you dress up for the first year we were together?
The 10th Doctor, actually.
That's right. That's right. But that was basically just a pinstripe.
I was wearing a suit and glasses and spiky hair.
That was what made me go, oh, this is Doctor Who something.
Thank you very much. And the costume is very simple. Once again, I did get a Henley shirt. I got everything from Smith & Edwards. I got a Henley shirt, rubbed it in the dirt a little bit, rubbed my face in the dirt, got a little grease stains and everything. I remember
you literally went outside at work and grabbed some dirt and rubbed it on your face for the picture shoot.
Yep. I got a scarf from Smith & Edwards. The only thing I borrowed was the pistol holsters.
Yeah.
Which really makes the costume. But basically, I just looked like a cowboy that had a large scarf on.
But those that know.
Those that know.
Yeah.
And you knew which worked. And I felt really cool. So I did a whole photo shoot outside.
Yeah, you
which
did.
was great.
Oh, Kent, you look so good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Zach, I love that you're looking these up right now.
I'm literally just digging through Facebook right now.
Yeah, Kent's stalking, or Zach's stalking Kent on Facebook.
Oh, you look so cool.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool, right?
Oh, with your Dexter shirt. Oh, you look so cool.
It is a Dexter shirt.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, what about you?
So going back to the same place of work that we did the loose theming on, months in advance, we decided that we wanted to do one of those. You saw them on Pinterest a lot. We're going to do costumes from an actor's movie catalog.
Oh,
so it was either going to be Jim Carrey or what we decided, which was Johnny Depp. So we were all something from a Johnny Depp movie.
And what year was this?
This was probably 2018.
Okay, so he'd basically done all his movies.
Yeah, pretty much. At that point, it was nothing. Nothing new coming up. So we literally people signed up and claimed okay, I wanted the boss who was Ace Ventura the year prior.
Did I play Ace Ventura?
Yeah, she was Mad Hatter, right?
Okay.
And then somebody was Sweeney Todd, and then
I was Sweeney Todd before
Fear and Loathing.
Somebody was Fear and Loathing.
Sure.
That was a great one.
Captain Jack.
Of course, we had a Jack Sparrow. I was like, well, what do we got left? So
You were Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Close. No.
Willy Wonka.
Crybaby?
That's it. I painted a little.
You were not Crybaby.
I slicked my hair.
People haven't seen Crybaby.
Pulled a chunk of hair down. I painted a little tear on my eye.
Word.
I went to the Savers.
You out-hipstered us all.
I found an oversized leather jacket.
Wow.
And I was Crybaby.
I was going to say, listener, do you even know Johnny Depp was in a movie called Crybaby? I only know because my sister had a poster of it on her wall.
People know the cover, I think. That's about it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
It was a bizarre movie. But yes,
You chose
Did people
that
know,
one.
though?
No, they just thought I was a greaser. And in context,
They're
they
like,
still didn't
Johnny
know.
Depp's not in Greece.
They're like, hey,
what are
21
you
Jump
guys?
Street. Pretty cool.
I don't know what you guys all are. It's like, yeah, I know. Well, I'm Crybaby for Halloween.
Nice.
So nobody knew, but it was well done. I'm just gonna say.
Proud of you.
Now that you've been hipsters, let's talk about embarrassing. What was your most embarrassing costume, Kent?
All of them, I guess. Anytime I wear tights or leotards.
Yeah.
So I was 18 years old at this point. It was Halloween 1999, and I was just graduated high school, but I heard about the Halloween Howl up at Utah State, and I heard it was kind of a naughty party, but it's a huge naughty party, and I was 18. I'm like, cool, that's going to be awesome. Let's go up there. And I decided I wanted attention. I didn't go to Utah State at the time, not yet anyways.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, let's wear costumes that really stand out. And there was a costume my brother wore a few years ago that I'm like, I'm going to kind of adapt that and make it its own thing. And it's this costume that I call Underwear Man.
Underwear Man.
So, and this isn't a regular
I know there's a character called Captain Underpants.
No. So imagine I'm wearing the typical long johns, the typical tan long johns. I was wearing cowboy boots. I wore a cheetah G-string. Okay.
Wow.
Over the long
Family
johns.
friendly.
It's a piece of clothing.
Saying you're putting visuals in heads.
I wore a big curly wig. I wore whitey tighties over the top of the wig. Once again, underwear themed. And I made a cape out of giant pairs of briefs in the shape of a giant pair of briefs.
Wow.
I still have the cape if you would like to see it.
I would.
And I was Underwear Man, and I thought, wow, we're going to get so much attention. Remember, I was 18. I had no shame. And I went up there, and everyone stared, and no one really laughed.
No?
And
That sounds like a funny costume.
Yeah, it was funny, but I think it was like they were like, oh, this guy's trying a little too hard. And I don't think I quite had the confidence enough, even though I had no shame. I don't think I had the confidence to pull it off. And so I went, every time someone stared at me, I'm like, I regret this. I regret it the entire night. So Underwear Man is the most embarrassing costume. I wouldn't even want to redo it.
Ugh.
So dumb.
Can't wait to see pictures of that.
Zach?
Mine's not inherently embarrassing. It's a Disney prince. I was a Disney prince of sorts. I was Flynn Rider, who we all
Perfect.
like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good. And,
Yeah.
you know,
We all love.
How is that embarrassing?
No, it's not. If you're with somebody who contextualizes your costume.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
When you
I
are
thought you were Peter Pan.
an adult man
Robin
going
Hood.
to your job in your cubicle, and you are just dressed as a guy in a blue vest, and you've just shaved your beard into nothing but like a soul patch.
Flynn Rider have a soul patch?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Mandela effect?
It's kind of like it's like a thin goatee without
Yeah.
just the actual chin part.
Huh.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird on my own, and
They
I
just thought
felt-
you went to a Ren fair and
they're
just
like,
got back.
Are you a pirate?
Did you have a Rapunzel at the time that you would then meet up with after work, or was it?
Yeah, there was a Rapunzel around.
Okay, but it's
Yeah.
not at work.
I can't remember who, but there was. But there was, it was like people looked at me funny, like,
Yeah.
wait, I don't get it. What are
Is this
you,
a
are you-
Shakespeare thing? What are you doing,
Yeah,
man?
because
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
so it was all about context. Yeah, when when you're standing next to a Rapunzel, it's like, oh, cool, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider,
Mm-hmm.
or Rapunzel and the guy. People don't ever remember his
And
name.
you had like a satchel, probably.
Yeah, I had a satchel, and I was committed to the bit. There was a crown inside.
Wow.
it was great. I had
Smoldering the whole day?
Had cool boots. So much.
Did you get
smoldering.
the nose right?
Never. No,
Never. They
That's-
never
that's
get the
actually
nose
my
right.
biggest flaw is my nose. So it was just embarrassing because it's like people, they don't know what I am. They look at me and they're confused, and I don't.
So it was embarrassing because you're like, I put some effort into this. No one knows.
I felt super out of place. And,
Yeah.
and people are just like, what?
And you're like,
So it's
have you seen 2010's Tangled?
You don't know, but this is actually a pretty sick costume. But you think I'm an idiot right now, and this is
Sure.
So somehow I found a way to make Flynn Rider embarrassing. Joel.
For this one, I had a hard time because I didn't have a lot of shame in a lot of my costumes, except for, and that's this. Maybe the costume wasn't embarrassing, to look at, but I was embarrassed because the year was 1988.
Oh.
and I wanted to be Wesley, the Dread Pirate Roberts.
I'm not even alive.
I was obsessed with Princess Bride.
Yeah.
My dog was named Wesley, and I had.
It sounds easy to do.
I wanted to be the Man in Black.
Yeah.
And so I had the black shirt, a black head covering. I don't even know what that's called, like a cowl. You know
Yeah.
what that is, like a
The
a black
do-rag.
mask, and I had a sword. But the thing I did not have, and the thing I wanted, was pirate boots.
Oh.
I wanted cool pirate
Yep.
boots because I remember that part when he lifted them up and like shook the rocks out. I'm like, those, I want those. And my mom's like, we're not going to buy you boots. Like that's not going to happen.
Come on, Mom.
I was like, I want the boots, but instead,
Did you get shoe toppers?
my loving mother let me borrow her boots.
Oh,
So I had these long black, high heeled, I might add.
You were 8 years old.
Yeah, it wasn't like stiletto. It was like, big. It was a chunky heel. But I had to walk around in my mom's boots, and the whole time I was like, I'm wearing my mom's shoes. Bleh. And I was so embarrassed by this fact. But looking back, I saw a picture of it, and I went, actually, that kind of looks like
Okay, but you were just
good.
feeling so much shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty embarrassed by that. So there's me wearing my mom's boots as Dread Pirate Robert. That got me. I was
Wonderful.
embarrassed by that.
next we have the costume you couldn't wait to show off. Maybe you put a bunch of effort into it, and you're just so excited to show it off. Mine is actually a costume I put very little effort into, but it was maybe the most clever I've ever felt. This was in 2021. I was working at Best Buy, and I decided, hey, I don't really want to do much, but I have an idea. So at Best Buy, the normal uniform was a blue polo, and I had my little yellow name tag.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what's not in business anymore? So I got a red polo, and I went online, and I found the logo for Circuit City. And I made myself a little Circuit City
Rest in peace.
name tag. Like I taped it to the top of my Best Buy name tag.
Are you allowed to do that?
And
They were gone.
I worked.
But at Best Buy, are they
were gone?
Yeah.
I worked on Halloween Day. I worked the entire day as a Circuit City employee.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Which was made funnier because I was a supervisor, and at the time, because it was like things were just opening up post COVID. I actually think this might have been 2020.
Okay.
Anyway, things were opening up. I was literally greeting people at the door. And, like,
Amazing.
directing. So I was
is
there.
awesome.
And so everybody who walked in this store saw me. And I was just so excited about that. I'm like, everyone's going to see my costume. And it was one of those, if you know, you know. I had multiple people look at me confused. Like, wait, what? I thought is this not And it clicked. But mostly it was when the other employees saw, specifically like the leaders, the like the managers of the store and stuff like that, when they saw, and actually that day the district manager came in and they all got a kick out of it.
Good.
They all thought it was really, really funny. Because again,
I was going to say
Circuit City
stuff.
exists. Kind of, there's no brick and mortar stores. It's just an online thing.
Sure.
So I was like, is anybody going to be mad? But no, it was either that. It was either going to be Circuit City or Comp USA.
Sad. Radio Shack.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had the appropriate color red polo, so I went with Circuit City.
So good.
But yeah, so I was just super excited for all of my coworkers to see that I thought I had done a clever, and
you did,
and it turned out really well. It was one of the few costumes I'm like, yeah, I'm posting this on social media. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. You did it for the gram.
Yeah, I did it for the gram. What about you, Joel?
There was one, I was going to mention one just real briefly. There was one where I was Bear Lake, where I was literally wearing a tarp and like I had a teddy bear over my head, and I was so excited to show up, and I had raspberries, candy raspberries I'd hand out to people, and I was so excited to show off. No one got it. And then I had one where I was Braveheart Lion, where I was Braveheart and then Braveheart Lion from Care Bears, and my wife made this amazing kilt, made it, and I wanted to show that off. Also, people didn't get it. But the year was 2005, and I was in a stage makeup class in college at BYU, and we recently finished our Grossies and Gories section where we learned how to do bloody and kind of gory makeup. Mm-hmm. And I had just recently watched Shaun of the Dead for the first time and became obsessed with it.
Yeah, of course.
And so I was Shaun of the Dead that year. Mm-hmm. And I did take some liberties. I had a gash. Well, I had the gash in my head, but then I also had a big black eye. And then I had a huge zombie bite taken out of my arm with blood everywhere. And I made my own cricket bat. I took a piece of wood and cut it out and made a cricket bat. It doesn't look great, but it's
for the costume. It's fine.
It's passable. I still have that to this day. It's got blood splatters all over it.
From the costume, yes.
I wanted to be, and the problem was though, any makeup we did in the Grossies and Gories section in class, we could not take outside of class because they had an incident where someone left the class and apparently was running across campus and it was raining and the blood was running all over and they were screaming for some reason and they thought it was a medical emergency.
What?
So they shut down the class and said, no, anything you do in class has to be taken off before you leave the class. But so I had to do the makeup, practice it, take it off, go back to my apartment, put the makeup back on, and then walk all over campus. And I literally did walk all over campus just to see if anyone would know me as Shaun of the Dead.
But so few people had seen the movie.
At that point, yeah.
But you were so proud.
I was so proud of it. And this is actually, to this day, this is literally my Google profile picture, is me holding up my arm, showing off the zombie bite of Shaun of the Dead. And it's convincing enough that I've had people be like, did you get a bike accident and that's your picture? And I'm like, no, it's Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But so proud of that one. Shaun of the Dead, huge fan of the movie, huge fan of the costume.
Mine is really self-serving. It was last year, and I was Clark Kent becoming Superman, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think I liked it so much because I have not put a lot of, Lederhosen, right? I haven't put a lot of thought into costumes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to dress up. I don't have a lot of time. Clark Kent worked. So I ordered a Man of Steel Superman shirt, and I had that underneath, basically just shirt and tie. They were open. I sprayed my hair black.
Yep.
Curled it a little bit. I put some. You
look like Johnny Depp and Crybaby.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I found some perfect black glasses at Target. I just think I felt really cool and I felt good in the costume. I went to a few parties with this costume, and I think I was like, I put some effort into this, and I think I look kind of cool. And I did so many pictures for the gram.
Yeah.
And I put backgrounds behind it and everything. It really was so simple. One of my most simple costumes, but I just kind of loved it.
That is not the one I thought you were going to pick.
Nope.
You saving that for another category?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, next we have you would wear it all year if you could. Joel?
Now, this is a weird one because this is one of those mashups that no one knew. I spent probably more time explaining this one and then got a reaction. This was a very disappointing year for that, but 2019, I was Ivan Dragon.
I love this costume.
So it was a mashup of Ivan Drago, the Russian guy from Rocky IV, and a dragon, because I was like, I just had an end on that. Mm-hmm. And so it was this big dragon. The dragon costume was essentially a giant Snuggie. It was this big kind of warm thing I got in, and then I put on some boxing shorts and had some gloves, and that was it. I think I may have tried to spike my hair, but it was the most comfortable costume. That dragon Snuggie.
So you just want to wear the Snuggie all year, and the boxing shorts?
I wore, the boxing shorts they were fine too, but I wore that thing home, and on colder days, I would put on, or my kids, they actually put this on a couple times to get warm. They'd climb in it. Well into, I think, November, we were wearing this thing. But it was almost worth having to explain my costume to everyone I met, because that dragon Snuggie was very comfortable.
Yeah.
And thank you, by the way, Kent, for photoshopping that into an image of me against Rocky.
Oh, yeah.
That helped.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, for me, it's that same year. It's Halloween 2019, and I've been saving this one a little bit, and this is when I was the driver. This could have been my hipster one. This
The
could have
driver
been
from Drive.
the one I wanted to show off. Maybe the one, just that no one even knows what it is. But I dyed my hair blonde.
You bleached your hair, man.
And it turned orange.
It did.
But I was dedicated.
Now, explain what the driver, Ryan Gosling, looks like in Drive.
It is Ryan Gosling. He looks a lot like Ken, but he wears a white Henley shirt, tight pants. He has driving gloves, a hammer.
Why'd you say tight pants like that?
Tight pants. I mean, it's Ryan Gosling. And the most important thing is the iconic, it's a puffy, shiny white jacket with a golden scorpion on the back.
Yes.
And that's what all the movie merch kind of has. And I said, I've always wanted that jacket. I'm going to make this happen. And so I actually ordered a jacket from China, and I got a men's large, and it's a woman's small. And so I tried to send it back to them, and they said, no, we don't want it. We don't want it back. I actually have 2 of these jackets. I have a women's size and a men's size.
Really?
Yeah, and so I had to
Save that
order
for the
another
missus one day?
I guess, when we could both be Ryan Gosling from Drive. And I love this jacket so much. I don't want to dye my hair again. I may if I'm Ryan Gosling in the future, but I would wear that jacket every single
Then
day.
why don't you?
Should I?
Why? Yeah, why not?
Don't you think people will laugh at me?
Who's going to laugh at you?
I mean, I guess I'll carry the hammer too.
Ooh.
But no, I love
He
that.
did. He had a hammer.
Yeah.
He walked
but
around
like,
with that.
and of course I posed next to, we went in the parking lot. This is when we were,
Working in an
this
office.
is, we did like a little work parade, but I found someone's Mustang in the parking lot. I didn't even know whose it was. And I sat against it and held my hammer. I'm like, this feels like I shouldn't be doing this, but it's for the gram.
It looked great.
Yeah.
It looked great.
So Ryan Gosling from Drive.
Mine is because I would be weird if I did it, but I felt cool and I was comfortable wearing
Sure.
it. I was a manager at Sizzler and I was a mobster. Pretty
Oh, cool.
simple.
Okay.
Right? I had a black pinstripe suit and the jacket was kind of, it was a little longer.
Right.
A
Little zoot suit.
little past the booty, little zoot suit riot going on. I had the the hat and I wore the black and white wingtips.
Yeah.
And I just kind of had snarled the whole day.
Yeah, see, I think it's a nice
And
costume.
I didn't do like a Tommy gun or anything.
Sure.
I just
Probably good.
just wore that because ultimately I was still like, again, I had my name tag on
From Circuit City.
from Sizzler. I thought it was really cool, but I would be just a total loser if I wore it all the time. But basically wearing a black pinstripe suit, black and white wingtips, and a hat, like.
That's a good look.
I would wear that every day if I wasn't going to be completely ostracized.
It'll come back into style.
One day.
Someday, but I would wear it every day if I could.
Love it.
All right. What's your scariest costume? Kent.
Okay, it's Freddy Krueger.
I was Freddy Krueger too one year.
Were you a child?
How
Yes.
excited you were about that.
So was I.
But it was a terrible. It didn't look anything like the box.
Same. And that's why it's the scariest.
Okay.
I was 9 or 10, and I loved A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know why. We used to watch them at my grandma's when we try to be like, can we watch a movie? We'd watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Or they'd come on TV all the time back in
Yeah,
the
they
day.
were all the time in USA.
And so I was Freddy Krueger, and this year I actually have the picture. I didn't have a homemade glove, even though I made a homemade glove out of popsicle sticks and a garden glove.
Uh-huh.
But I borrowed someone's actually like movie prop glove, which was cool. And I had this like low budget sweater that had stripes on it. Didn't look like Freddy Krueger's sweater.
Okay.
I had this like old man hat that didn't look like Freddy Krueger's hat.
But as a kid, it's okay.
It's okay. And then I decided to draw scarring on my face, which is just brown lines, like squiggly brown lines on my face.
Oh, see, mine came out of a package.
Oh,
it was supposed to look
lucky.
like his.
Wait,
but it
didn't?
No, not at all.
Okay, I need to see this because I just drew these and it looked like I just was a messy kid with weird stains on my face.
With the big knives on your hands.
And the glove was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But it was scary because I felt scary.
Yeah.
And it's also scary to look at because it looks nothing like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Zach?
I don't do scary costumes. I've never done scary costumes.
Beetlejuice is kind of scary.
Kind of, a little
Yeah.
bit. That was probably the closest thing. So for 2 separate years, when I was young, I had a really nice vampire costume.
Sure.
And so I was a vampire twice. And that
A really
literally
handsome vampire?
is a scare. I was in the second grade and second and third grade. I think I did it.
Special little guy.
Yeah, and there's a picture. I'll have to find it somewhere. There's a picture of me, and I've got the teeth in, and my mom drew blood off of the end of my mouth. And there's a picture of me. My eyes are closed. And it's just like, I guess I'm the sleeping vampire.
Here's what makes me upset. If Joel and I posted pictures from 2nd or 3rd grade, they'd be really blurry.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh, these are blurry photos.
Your picture
sure.
would be like, oh, they're digital.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was actually taken.
It's 8 megapixels.
It was 2nd grade. It was taken with an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. I've never done scary costumes.
Yeah.
But for 2 years, I was.
You're a movie monster.
Count Zacula.
Oh, that's adorable.
I just gained a heart size just from you saying that.
Yep, that's me.
Joel, what about you?
So for me, the scariest here, because for a while there, I was actually all about scary costumes. In fact, I said it's not a Halloween costume, it's not scary. And my mask years in particular, kids were terrified. They'd come to the door. I would never talk because talking ruins the illusion of the mask. That's what the Disney characters teach you at Disneyland. You don't talk. Yes. But I'd scare them. Like they would like walk away. Some kids walked away without even getting candy sometimes. I never scared little kids. I always waited till the sun went down before I put it on.
Right.
I try to not scare little kids when they came to the door. But older kids, whatever. But the one I put as scariest was one because I was worried about the effects it was going to have. Was 2013 when I was the big bad wolf dressed as Granny with Little Red Riding Hood. Because Little Red Riding Hood was my 1-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And she had this cute little red outfit.
Yeah.
And I was going to use my Wolfman mask, which I had before. And it's pretty terrifying. Like it's a scary mask. And I was like, I'm so worried what this is going to do to my daughter. And so I did kind of this little mask therapy with her where I let her play with the mask, like just on the floor. And then like I put it up in my hand and let her honk the nose. My kids, actually every year we get the masks out, all the kids get to honk the noses of all the masks.
Okay.
Just to like, they're not real. They're silly. But I was worried about it. And so then I put it on and I'd talk to her and be all kind to her and everything. But then when I was in the full outfit and they brought her to work, I was at work and like people are like, oh, you're the big bad wolf in the Granny. That's great. But then I brought in the Little Red Riding Hood, little 1-year-old, cute little 1-year-old, Little Red Riding Hood. And she was fine. And I was so grateful that she was okay with that. And my wife actually dressed up as the woodsman that year too, which I thought was a fun twist. It was the three of us were in a costume. The other kids were doing their own thing. They're like Flash and a black cat, I think. But
you're right.
But the big bad wolf with Little Red Riding Hood and the woodsman, that was one where I was worried it was going to scar my child for life. She's doing okay.
I actually don't like it when you wear masks because when you were the zombie, you didn't talk to me all day. You just stared at me. And I was like, hey, Joel, that's awesome. You look great. And you just stared at me. And I'm like, I'm not going to stand next to you anymore. I actually don't like this.
Because nothing is less scary than... Thanks, Kip. Appreciate it.
Now we have our personal favorites. This is your favorite costume. I'm starting on this one?
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
All right, I'm going to go back to actually just last year where, again, I mentioned earlier, now that I'm a family man, we're doing, as long as we can, while the kids are young, we're doing the family theme thing.
Love it.
So last year, we were trying to figure out what we could do, and what we basically wanted to encourage was we'll have the kids pick something that's fun that my wife and I have an idea for that wouldn't be too hard. And so we kind of convinced the children to choose to be dinosaurs. So my wife and I could be Alan Grant and Ellie Sadler.
So good.
And so I was searching high and low through thrift stores to find really big pleated pants because I had to have my 90s pleated khakis.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I found a denim shirt and it had like some company logo embroidered on it. And so on the chest logo. And so I literally went through and like picked every individual thread and got rid of the logo. I found myself some aviator glasses, had a bandana and whatnot. And I was Dr. Alan Grant. And it was important to me because I also had a 2-month-old baby who was in a cute little dinosaur costume and just asleep the whole time. And I'm walking through and I put my phone in the shirt pocket and I was playing just the Jurassic Park score as we were walking around. Dun, 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 dun. It was a hoot. It was a fun thing to do as a family. My wife looked great as Ellie, and we had a lot of fun. So Dr. Alan Grant is my favorite costume ever, and it was just last year.
That's adorable.
What about you, Joel?
I want to put an honorable mention out there just because there was one year where I was Geppetto and my little son was Pinocchio, and it was adorable because he was so cute and adorable. But that wasn't my costume. When I was by myself, I was literally like just an old man.
Old man Joel.
Yeah. But that's kind of when I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally okay with just helping my kids.
The co-star.
Costume.
Right.
He was adorable. So I didn't pick that. But the year was 2020. And Zoom had just become a thing, Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, this was a time when I didn't know if Halloween was actually even going to happen. And so I was like, I don't want to plan this big elaborate costume. I'm going to do something quick and I'm going to do something easy. So I took a shirt, a tie, and a jacket, and I basically cut them in half, just on the bottom half there, just kind of cut them up. And then I shredded them a bit to make them look like ragged, and then I did makeup on my face and hands, and I was a zombie. So on the top half, it was all zombie costume. On the bottom half, it was a T-shirt and pajama bottoms and my sandals. And it was one of those costumes where I went, man, that worked out pretty well. And, but this was also the year where my son tested positive for COVID just before Halloween.
Right.
We had to stay home. I didn't get a show off. It was pretty much all for the gram. But I wanted to put this out there. That was the year where some very kind neighbors actually went out and trick-or-treated on behalf of my kids and then brought back candy. So there's really just positive memories associated with that, even though it was one of the weirdest Halloweens I've had. But being a zombie, I thought was fun.
Really clever.
It was a fun little twist. It was a very easy costume put together. So when I thought of personal favorite, there's so many I could choose, but zombie.
Because as everyone knows, you're in a virtual meeting.
Yes.
And you just have to wear clothes on the top.
When you're in a Zoom meeting, they don't care what's on the lower half. And so that's what the zombie was. Yeah.
Love it. It was Halloween 2003. This is my favorite costume ever. I've worn it multiple times since for different occasions, not even Halloween. And so I was going to Utah State at this point, and I had two buddies that one was living in Provo, one was my roommate. And I said, guys, we're going to do a group costume, and we're going to be Alvin and the Chipmunks. We were grown men.
Yes, I've been searching through your Facebook. I have had this photo set aside.
Right, it's kind of a grainy quality picture. And so I went to my best friend's mom and I said, hey, you're really good at making stuff. I need really long shirts of various colors. And she said, okay, I can help you with that. I'm like, basically dresses that are turtlenecks with long sleeves. Like, we're going to be polygamous here. And so, and I'm like, I'm Alvin. And my buddy went, why are you Alvin? Why do I have to be Theodore? I'm like, buddy, come on. Let's get real.
He's a little
I'm the Alvin of the group. Let's be real.
Oh, a kid walks into a group. He's like, hey, guys, it's a group costume. I'm the leader.
No, and that's really what happened. I had a red hat. I had the big red shirt with the giant A that I made out of felt. It just worked out perfectly. The other two guys, they don't have letters. They have a blue, or it's kind of like a teal or whatever. There's green and blue, essentially, for Theodore
and Simon.
And we went to the Halloween Hell once again. We were the most dressed people there, and people.
Was this pre? Yeah, this is post Underwear Man.
Yeah, post. Like I was like, I'm going to dress something I'm kind of proud of, and people loved it. I finally got the right kind of attention, and my favorite part is I just kept running away the entire night because people went, Alvin, Alvin, or they'd yell at me. But if I ditched the other two, they were just dudes in long dresses. No one had any idea. So they kept getting mad, and I loved it.
You loved making them mad?
Yeah. I kept that Alvin costume in my car for years.
Do you think they kept their Simon and Theodore costumes?
No, absolutely not. And I remember once we did this like rock band competition at work, and we just wore costumes for it. And I'm like, I have 5 Halloween costumes in the back of my car right now.
You kept them in the back of your car. Do you still have them in the back of your car?
No, I cleaned it since because it looks weird. I think the Wonder Woman boots are still back there. Anyways, my Alvin costume is something that's lived on, and I still have it and love it.
All right. Final category.
All right.
Looking forward. Future goal for Halloween costume. Joel, get us started.
And what's stopping you from having done this already?
My family.
That sounds sad.
No, we keep saying we're going to do it, but we never have. Every year when it starts getting closer, we're like, this is the year. This is the year we're going to do Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh.
We're going to be Plants vs. Zombies, a family costume. So we're going to have, we all play, it's a video game you play where zombies come along and then you have plants that shoot against them. And it's just, it's a fun game to play. It's on all sorts of platforms.
Now you have to wait for the next one to come out.
But it's so much fun. But we'd have pea shooters and sunflowers and the football zombie, the dancing zombie, and the conehead zombie, tangle kelp, walnuts, tall nuts, potato mines, chompers, grave busters, hypno shrooms, maybe even Dr. Zoom Boss.
Wow.
Like, we have a lot of kids.
Yeah, a lot.
And so we thought we could do this whole ensemble. And I just picture my little kids and like my little daughters in like a sunflower costume. And I think one year my son did do like a cone on his head zombie. But we just never done it as a family. And I always wanted to do that. And so I'm hoping one day my kids will let me do it before they're all grown up. So Plants vs. Zombies, kids, let's make it happen.
I have 2. My honorable mention is Nightwing. I've always wanted to get in the right kind of shape that I could be Nightwing. I'd have to dye my hair black.
Just get one of those plastic things Zach had. Body plates.
Yeah. Then I have to get a hole punch and tie it to
hole
me.
punch it. I got you.
Okay. But I think Nightwing, if I was in like great shape, that would be the costume, even over Batman. I think it'd be unique. But the number one costume I want, and it's a financial thing, it's the Rocketeer. if I could save money.
I saw a Rocketeer costume at FanX.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, that's a great idea.
And the thing is, it's so elaborate, even though it's simple. And just because it's old-fashioned. It's an old-fashioned, awesome bomber jacket.
The jacket,
Yeah, the leather
so
jacket.
You've got the
cool.
bloomin' pants.
Yep.
You've got the boots, obviously. They're the cool gloves.
My
which
mom has some you can borrow. Some boots.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
My gosh.
Oh, those
This-
boots. Yeah.
This would
But-
be the coolest.
But what it
thing.
comes down to is
I love the Rocket.
I need a fitted helmet that fits my giant head, right? And that I could take it off and have flowing Billy Campbell hair because I wouldn't want my hair to be all messed up.
You can make this a reality. You know a guy. You know a guy with a 3D printer.
I want a metallic helmet.
You could spray paint it. I'm telling you, man.
Okay, maybe I should do that.
This is, you should totally do
You
this.
can.
What about the jetpack? Because the jetpack, no, I've looked into this. The helmet would be at very least $300 for a very high quality one, and the jetpack would be even more.
I mean, okay, 3D printing probably wouldn't look as good as like one of those helmets. And
Because
the jetpack-
this would be something that I'd probably wear to FanX in the future as well.
yeah,
Because
that's a great idea, though.
but it's a financial thing. If
Yeah.
I made like a piece a year, I think I could pull it off.
Yeah, it's the financial stuff always slow you down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've looked into many times getting like legit Batman costumes.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Nightwing.
Yeah.
For a while when I was younger, obviously, I really wanted to be specifically Chris O'Donnell in Batman and Robin.
Yep.
Like the blue and red. Because say what you
respect
will
that.
about the movie, that suit's cool.
It is cool.
The blue and red one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I get it. Like when
Yeah.
you're slowed down by, I cannot justify spending $1,000 on this costume.
Right.
You know.
But it will be worth it. It's kind of my goal.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
I don't think any children's hospitals are asking for Rocketeers to show up right now. So I don't think you can justify
Oh, that movie from 1991 with
Oh,
Billy
yeah,
Campbell?
cool.
I
Okay.
still like it.
It's
I
great.
like that movie.
Yeah.
a lot.
All right, Zach, what about you?
us
Mine
home.
is actually a preview of this year, this very year. I'm
we're
really
making this all
excited.
happen.
I'm really excited about our costume this year. We are being Batman, specifically from Batman the Animated Series, and mostly just because I want another chance to humble brag that my stepkids of the ages 8 and 5 love Batman the Animated Series from
They're
the
the
90s.
best.
Yep.
They're so great. So collectively as a family, 8-year-old stepson is going to be the Joker. He's got an awesome costume.
Okay.
5-year-old stepdaughter is going to be Poison Ivy.
Okay.
Oh.
She's going to look great. And my son is going to be Batman.
Little baby. Little baby
My
Batman.
wife is going to just do a pretty easy, simple, cute Catwoman thing. And then I'm going to just be Alfred. I'm really stoked
okay.
for that
Awesome.
because I have to carry around the baby, right?
So
I'm going to be
cute.
Alfred taking care of baby Batman.
Master Wayne.
Who's, you know, his parents were killed at a lot younger age.
Are you shaving your beard?
No,
Okay.
probably not. Maybe I'll just do more of an Andy Serkis thing.
Sure, okay.
But what I wanted to do,
not canon.
what I wanted to do, this more fits into this category, but I think we're just not going to get there. Really, I want the baby to be Bruce Wayne, and I want my wife to wear pearls.
Oh,
And I want to wear a tuxedo.
No.
And
Bad
I want-
omen.
And I want to be...
it's like naming your boat the Titanic, man.
I want to be Thomas and Martha Wayne. Because I'd be holding my son, little Bruce Wayne, and we would be going to the movies.
I hate it. I hate it.
See the Mask
Please
of
don't.
Zorro.
Stop it.
I hate it, but I love it.
And then we get shot.
Don't go to Crime Alley.
We get shot.
Crime Alley's a bad name.
At some point, I want your little boy just to grab up and grab the pearls.
Grab the
just
pearls
pull
and rip
up.
them down?
They all just drop to the ground.
Why is it falling in slow motion?
Save Martha.
You can do so many slow motion deaths that night.
So it's never going to happen. But
Thank you.
My future costume I would love would be Thomas Wayne.
No,
I hate it.
I'm telling you, Zach, when he's older, maybe around the age of 10 or 11,
yeah.
do it.
I think we might.
That's awesome. You win.
Don't walk down any alleys.
Crime Alley specifically.
Yeah. So there you go. There is our walk down memory lane.
Indulgent walkthrough.
We hope you enjoyed this walk down our memory lane. We hope you took a walk down memory lane yourself. And if nothing else, we hope you got an idea of what to or what not to do for your Halloween costume this year. And be sure to look out for our Facebook post. It's not the episode one. Don't post your pictures on that one. We'll have a specific one for the costume parade for the contest. So look out for that. But we want to hear your comments on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter for this post, as well as the costume parade for the other post.
All right, before we go, we'd like to give some love to the patrons. So for them, the I Am the Listener category we have Taylor Sanderson, Sir and Madam Hicks, Scott Sprague, Ryan and Marley, Rocky and Steph, Lady Terry A. Finley, Juice, The Cooler King Swallow, Jennifer Kilkowski, Dave Kelly, Casey Cummings, Briggs is Hot, Angela Plotz, Andrew's Doing a Big Jump, and Adam and Rachel Crump. And from the Bacon Council, we have the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Star Wars expert Kyler, our favorite couple of the Madsons, Nicole Decal, Fish and Chips Are Delicious, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Glow Klein Daniel, Debbie Foster, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons. You are the cry to our baby. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me performing with Quick Wits. I perform at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on X or Twitter or Instagram at Tumbling Mustard. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and visit at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. While you're doing that, visit tpublic.com/Baconsale where you can get yourself some merch. We love to see it out in the wild. And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. Support starts at just $3 a month. You can get all sorts of benefits, behind the scenes stuff, and of course, those famous bacon bits that happen almost all the time. Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, I was chasing a memory.
Mom, step back. We're recording our podcast. Batman, but as a blue M&M.
Batman butt is a blue M&M?
Batman.
But it's Batman, but it's actually...
Why is Batman's butt a blue M&M?
The chin is actually the glove.
Think of Batman pooping snakes.
Think of Batman pooping snakes. Slide into our DMs. You can't send the Russians to Nightmare on 13. I did not guys all that much, and I never guys with other guys.
No solicitors or no geysers. This is not Iron Spider, Mom.
Yeah. That's not what I asked for, mother.
I want arms.
Is the bow and arrow the only difference
It
between
really
costumes?
is. It's the only difference.
Dude, Peter Pan got hard.
And this is before Kent blossomed into the handsome man he is
Oh,
today.
thank you, Zach.
You are a fine wine, Kent Dunn.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever
and
said.
You were an awkward little grape. But have you ever been an M&M? Every once in a while, somebody will say to me, "Hey,
The only good song in Cats, I might add.
Memories.
I'm sorry.
Easy.
I'm sorry, Memories.
Take it easy.
Memories, Mr. Mistopheles, that's it.
all the things we get on show for."
Wow.
Hey, Memories is really
rare, guys.
Mistopheles.
Rare.
I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love to be the center of attention. Change your name and put a K in it.
As Donald, literally, I was wearing a blue shirt.
Just a shirt, no pants.
Oh,
no pants.
yeah,
You got kicked out of Disney for that.
the Winnie the Pooh costume was off. Okay.
Why is that man wearing no pants?
Yeah, take your pants off, sir.
Dude, because this costume has a plastic butt on it. I liked it before the pie was cool. Hey, this guy's cool.
I was already cool.
You don't know, but this is actually a pretty sick costume.
My loving mother let me borrow her boots.
My eyes are closed. And it's just like, I guess I'm the sleeping vampire. For 2 years, I was.
You're a movie monster.
Count Zacula.
Like, we're going to be polygamous here. I'm the Alvin of the group.
Nothing is less scary than...
Thanks, Kip. Appreciate it.